In this video, I'm going to react to the AC-130 gunship. Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Kabir Considers. This is the place where I react to music, media, sports, anime, anything related to popular culture. I'll watch it with an open mind and give you my 100% honest reaction to it. And if you could please hit that like button early, I'd really appreciate it. Now this should be a lot of fun just because this particular aircraft has been recommended so many times in various other aircraft, military aircraft videos I've done, whether that's the B-1, the F-22, the videos on, the 7 most expensive aircraft in the US military. This one has come up quite a few times. I believe it's particularly menacing. The weapons on it, I think, are like just extremely powerful, extremely capable. I know nothing about it, but I'm prepared to have my mind blown. So let's go. This is going to be me reacting to the AC-130 gunship. Let's do it. Ooh.
This is America's lethal AC-130 gunship on steroids.
Man, I mean, the way that thing was just spitting fire, gosh, you would not, and I mean you would not want to be on the receiving end of that bad boy.
The historic, lethal, and combat-tested AC-130 gunship, known for attacking ISIS and Taliban fighters during close air support high-risk combat missions, is getting a massive technological upgrade with newer weapons and avionics to increase the effectiveness of the attack platform.
Man, look at this thing. Looks like a dragon or something. I mean, gosh.
And extend its service life into future decades, service officials said.
Because each of these, hold on a minute. Each of these things are the tracers, aren't they? So in between each tracer, there's what, 5 or 10 other rounds that have gone? This thing must be putting out crazy numbers.
AC-130 gunship work involves upgrading the plane with weapons, targeting systems, and sensor packages, Colonel Robert Toth, Chief of Tactical Aircraft, Special Operations, and Combat Search and Rescue Division, told Scout Warrior in an interview. Early variants of the AC-130 gunship first entered combat in the late 1960s during the Vietnam War. Later variants served in the Gulf War, War on Terror, and War in Afghanistan, among other missions. The gunships, operated by both the Air Force and Special Operations Command, are often used to support special operations fighters on the ground engaged in combat. The aircraft is known for its 105mm side-firing cannons, which enable it to fire from a side axis position during close.
105mm. Goodness me, what's that like? That?
In combat supporting ground troops. The AC-130 gunship also has a 25mm Gatling gun and a 40mm weapon, according to Air Force statements. The Lockheed Boeing-built aircraft uses 4 Allison T-56A-15 turboprop engines, each with 4,300 shaft horsepower. The 155,000-pound aircraft has a 132-foot wing.
Man, that is a big unit. How many?
300 shaft horsepower. The 155,000-pound
150,000 pounds, so that's about 45,000 kilos, so 45 tons. Ooh, that's a big unit.
Aircraft has a 132-foot wingspan and hits speeds of 300 miles per hour. Its crew consists of a pilot, co-pilot, navigator, fire control officer, electronic warfare officers, flight engineer, TV operator, infrared detection operator, loadmaster, and 4 aerial gunners. The AC-130's Spooky 2 gunship is a standard C-130 transport aircraft engineered for close air support combat. Its 105mm gun, called an M102 howitzer, fires 33-pound high-explosive shells at a firing rate of 10 rounds a minute, according to a report in Popular Mechanics.
The way that thing is just recoiling. Ugh.
The weapon has a range of up to 7 miles and is the largest gun ever operated from a U.S. Air Force aircraft, the report said.
Wow.
The aircraft's 25mm Gatling gun, the GAU-12, is the same weapon now on the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter. The weapon fires both high-explosive incendiary and armor-piercing incendiary rounds against enemy fighters, buildings, and light vehicles, Popular Mechanics writes. C130 Fleet.
Did the guy say that it has a 7-mile range, like one of the weapons on it? So it could hit you from 7 miles away. Gosh, that is insane.
The AC-130 gunships make up a small portion of a fleet of roughly 500 C-130 planes throughout the Air Force and Special Operations Command, Toth explained. The cargo planes are used to airdrop supplies, equipment, weapons, and troops in forward deployed locations. As a propeller-driven aircraft, the C-130s can fly and land in more rugged conditions and withstand harsh weather such as obscurance. The propellers make the aircraft's engines less susceptible to debris flying and causing operational problems for the engines. It really allows you to do that tactical movement of equipment and personnel to take the airplane to the last tactical mile. A lot of our transport strategic airlifters are meant to go to a hard runway somewhere, and then they turn over the cargo to be moved to the forward areas to a C-130 or a vehicle. The C-130 allows you to take that cargo and land on a smaller runway or unimproved airfield, Toth added. C-130s are used for domestic, international, and war zone transport, including homeland security, disaster relief, and supply deliveries, among other things. There are probably missions that have yet to be dreamed up for the C-130, Toth said. The fleet consists of 135 more modern C-130J aircraft and 165 older C-130Hs, which have been around since the 80s, Toth explained.
Wow. I mean, the versatility of the aircraft is just phenomenal because obviously it's quite a large aircraft. The amount of cargo it's able to transport is considerable. Also, you know, the threat of them being attacked for the cargo, you know, maybe it's some valuable things it's transporting is low due to the armament of the thing. I mean, who's going to want to take on something with, you know, weapons that have a 7-mile range, you know, that put out the kind of output, you know, the kind of rounds per minute that the howitzer can. You're just not going to want to take it on. So very useful aircraft to have in your inventory for sure.
Also, MC-130Js are specially modified airlifters engineered to transport Army Green Berets, Navy SEALs, and Army Rangers. They are essentially a C-130J further modified with defensive systems, with radar countermeasures and infrared radar and advanced sensors for specialized missions.
Wow.
They can also
That is such a cool shot, man. Just seeing the propellers rotate in slow motion, very cool.
perform in-flight refueling, Toth explained. C130 Modernization. The Air Force remains vigilant about its C-130 fleet to ensure the airframes, wing boxes, avionics, and communication systems remain safe and operational. This is particularly true of the older 1980s-era C-130Hs, Toth added. The thing that causes the greatest risk to the airplane is the life of the wing. We monitor the wing of the aircraft, and as the wings get past their service, we bring the airplanes back in and bring in new structures, with the primary focus being the center wing box, which is the area where the wings mount to the fuselage, Toth said. As for when a C-130 requires a maintenance upgrade to preserve and maintain service life, the Air Force uses an assessment metric referred to as equivalent baseline hours. The wing boxes are changed once the aircraft reaches a certain severity factor in its operational service time. This is necessary because the wear and tear or impact of missions upon an airplane can vary greatly depending upon a range of factors, such as the altitude at which a plane is flying, Toth said. Low-level flight may be 3 to 4 times the severity factor of flying at a higher level, he said.
Is that because the air is thinner the higher you go, so there's less resistance, there's less forces that are being, there's less forces impacting the fuselage and the wings and the overall structure of the plane? Is that why he mentioned that low-level flight is much harder? Because there's obviously going to be more oxygen, more air. At least that's what that's what my, that's my theory.
Avionics Modernization Program Increment 1 involves adding new 8.33 radios to the aircraft to improve communication, along with initiatives to upgrade cockpit voice recorders and digital data recorders. C-130s will also receive new collision avoidance technology designed to prevent the planes from hitting terrain or colliding with one another midair. AMP Inc. 2 involves a larger scale effort to integrate digital avionics throughout the airplane. Inc. 2 will require 9 months to 1 year of work to be completed by 2028, Toth explained. This will allow us to bring the airplane from analog to digital, integrate a glass cockpit, and use touchscreen displays. We'll get away from the old systems of avionics where we had dial-driven instrumentation to where it's all digital.
Yeah, that'll make a huge difference. Like when I was looking inside the cockpit there, just the amount of dials in front of the pilots. I mean, if you didn't know what you're doing, it would be very overwhelming for me anyway. It looked like there was about 50 dials in front of them, you know, maybe even more. Just a lot of information, you know.
This makes us able to process a lot more information, Toth said. As part of the new C130 modernization calculus, the Air Force will consider retiring some C130Hs and replace them with newly built C130Js. The service has the authority to acquire an additional 20 C130Js, Toth added. We continue to evaluate where it makes sense to retire an older airplane and instead put that money into buying new airplanes, he said.
It's a badass plane, man. You would not want to mess with that. Just look at that. Look at the shot of it. It's just so good. I wonder how big it is compared to a 747. Is it around about the same size? It's probably, if I had to guess, comparable in size to a Boeing 747. Obviously it looks a bit girthier, a bit thicker, but maybe it's a bit shorter, the length of the fuselage. Very big. A very impressive plane indeed. I mean, just the like I mentioned in the video, the versatility of it is of great value because, you know, it can transport such a huge amount of cargo. Like, it looks absolutely massive. It's probably up there with some of the biggest planes I've seen, and because of the, you know, the vast array of weaponry on there, you know, from the massive 105mm weapons and, you know, the howitzers, you know, it's sufficiently armed to the point where, you know, you're just not going to want to like try and hijack it or take any of its cargo or anything like that. So just getting from A to B, delivering, you know, extremely important cargo around the world, you know, having that capability, having a plane like that must be so useful. Really impressive plane. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, turn on bell notifications, and keep throwing the recommendations my way. I know I say it all the time, but they genuinely help me out, because if I know you enjoyed watching something, I'll definitely enjoy reacting to it. So like, subscribe, turn on bell notifications, keep throwing the recommendations, and I'll catch you in the next one.